Hi, welcome to video tutorial for probabilities. My name is Mark Gillan. Let's bang on. Right, probabilities. We'll start with a description of probabilities. We use probabilities in everyday life, so we do. We say things like it's impossible to find someone over 30 feet tall. Well, some people say that. You could say it. And it would be more or less impossible. We don't find anyone 30 feet tall. Or over 30 feet tall. It's likely to rain tomorrow. Well, if you live where I live, it's likely to rain tomorrow. It's an even chance of heads when tossing a coin. Can't argue with that one. As long as it's fair, not a double-sided coin, obviously. It's unlikely for Partick Thistle Football Club to win the Champions League. Yeah, quite unlikely. It's very unlikely for the moon to break in half. Very unlikely. So what we do is when we're describing them, probabilities, we describe them in various words during everyday life anyway, so we do, and we think about the possibilities and the probabilities of something that might not happen, wouldn't happen, and so let's look at it a bit more. We can write probabilities and we can put it in as fractions or even decimals and percentages. So if we have a wee look at how we can do that in a minute, I'll use some words a minute ago, and we can use words to describe. So there were certain things there that were quite certain, there were things that were quite likely, there was even chance, there was unlikely, and it was highly unlikely. So there is things in which we say in the regular day, or at times we say things, and if we can put them into these categories, and we've got a scale that we can use as well. So if it's certain that something's going to happen, or pretty certain, then it's highest on the scale. If there's an even chance, then it's a half. It's evens. So, and if there's no real chance of it happening, it's a zero. So I hope you like some of the things I've put in there. Now, obviously, that's based upon where I live. Okay. Some people might not have snow in February. Okay. Right. Let's have a wee look at more probabilities. Let's have a look at probabilities. So a die is a good place to start. Now, a die being the singular of the plural dice. So let's have a wee look at that. So we've got just a standard Bogdan standard dice with or die with 6 possible outcomes. We can have either we can roll a 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So there's a chance of each of them. So there's a chance of 1 in 3 of us rolling 2, 4, 6, an even number. Likewise, if you take that the other way, for an odd number, it's the same. It's okay. So what we can do is we can write that, and I did mention fractions and decimal and percentages. So if you take that as being chances out of 6, well, there's 3 chances out of 6 that you're going to roll an even number, as long as everything is as it should be, okay, and nobody's pushing you, nudging you. It's not a loaded die or anything like that. So 3 out of 6. If we were to bring that down to its smallest denomination there in the fraction, well, it'll be half. So a chance of 1 in 2, when you think about it, of getting an even number or an odd number. So that's 0.5 as a decimal, 50% as a percentage. And as I mentioned, just a wee note there as well, that as long as every possible outcome is the same chance of occurring, then the probability of an outcome equals the number of ways the outcome can happen divided by the total number of possible outcomes. So that's how we've got the 3 divided by the 6 there. So considering what we've just done there and thinking about the fractions, the decimal and percentages based upon that, I've already given you a heads up. Oh, that's a bad. Oh, sorry. I'll stop that attempt at humour. So tossing a coin to get heads obviously is going to be the same for tails. So sweets. If I was if somebody was to offer you a bag of sweets, and in the sweets we've got 1 blackjack, 1 fruit salad, 1 cola cube, and 1 sour plum. Lovely. Weekdays. Choosing a weekday at random. So if I was to say to you, I've got a day of the week in my head, then you choose a day of the week. What's the chances of us both choosing that same random day of the week? Scrabble. Mix up all the letters in Scramble, okay, and pull out and make the word mathematics. So what's the chances of you with the word mathematics? If you put the word mathematics into a bag and shake it, and everything being equal in terms of all the letters, what's the chances of you pulling out an M? An M for Mark. Excuse me. I'm not going to edit that out. It happens. What's the possibilities? The probability of that happening. Right. Enough of my nonsense again. So here's the answers. So a coin, tossing a coin to get heads, it's the same for tails as well, obviously, because there's an even chance there. So it's evens, which is a half. 0.5, 50%. Sweeties. If we've got a bag of sweets, 1 each of them. If they're all the same size, same weight, and sugar them about, what's the chance of getting them? It's a chance of 1 out of 4, which is 1 over 4. 1 divided by 4. So a fraction divided by comes to 0.25. Decimal, 25%. Weekdays. If we were both to think of it, it's a chance of 1 out of 7, which is 0.14, 14%. That's the chance. Scrabble. Now remember that there's 2 M's. So 2 chances out of 11. There's 11 letters in total for the word mathematics. So there's a chance of 2 out of 11. 2 divided by 11 is 0.18, which is 18%. So the problem with probabilities, though, is there's other factors that can come into play. So, for example, you're going to McDonald's restaurant, everybody's eating a hamburger, of course they are, or maybe not, might be eating a chicken burger, or something else. So when you ask people there out of 10 people if they were non-meat eaters, or if they were meat eaters. So meat eaters, you'll probably get 9 out of 10 eat meat eaters. So if you ask people in random in the street, well, a little bit better, but also increase the amount of people. So the sum of probabilities. So we just look at the sum of probabilities and how we work it out. So if tossing a coin, for example, there's a chance of 1 out of 2 for heads or tails. So we can write that as the chances of probability of a heads and probability of a tails was a chance of 1 out of 2 and 1 out of 2. Now, the sum of all probabilities like that always add up to 1. So it's the sum of probabilities that we're looking at. So sum of probabilities, if we look just a wee bit more of that. So we choose a letter at random from a one word. So if we think about the word sums, S-U-M-S, we've got 4 letters. But the thing is, we've got 2 S's. So there's a chance of 2 out of 4 of selecting the letter S. For the letter U, there's only 1, so it's 1 out of 4. There's 4 letters, so the chance of 1 out of 4. And the M is 1 out of 4. But we write that as the sum of probabilities, so we can write it into mathematics for calculation purposes. Well, just the same, probability, the P probability for the letter S is 2 out of 4. P probability for the letter U, probability for the letter M, they're the same, a quarter and a quarter. You add them all together, there's 4 quarters, which is 1. So as long as there's the same chance of something occurring, the probability of an outcome is the number of ways an outcome can happen divided by the total number of possible outcomes. So the total number of possible outcomes going to the top divided by the number of ways that it can happen. But what if we have 2 coins? What if there's an additional event? Well, what we can do is we can use a table or we can use a list. So what I've done is I've done here this for a coin tossing of 2 coins. So I've done first coin and second coin. Now you can see it in the list. It's all the possibilities of it happening. So we could have a head and a head. We could have a head and a tails. We can have tails and a head, or we can have a tails and a tails. The table's the same. If you just calculate that out, then it's all the possibilities of what can happen. So if we do the maths from the list or a table, so it's the same outcome anyway, so whether it's a list or a table, it's the same probabilities. So we say here that there's a chances of here, so it allows us to see the 4 possible outcomes of the 2 coins. We can now calculate the possibilities on this. So probability of 2 heads is 1 out of 4. 2 ways of heads and tails. So it's 2 out of 4. It's a half. Right, the probabilities, there's a wee summary just to finish this off here. We had a wee look at the description of probabilities in words. We had a look at a scale of 0, half to 1. And then we looked at fractions and converting the fractions to decimal percentage. There is another video tutorial available for that for you. And the sum of probabilities. What we did is we worked it out, and we also had a look at combined events as well. So thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed. Try a few yourself. Have a wee watch again if you want to, because I'm so entertaining. You want to, don't you? Please. Okay. I'm glad I've disabled the comments. Have fun. Thanks for watching. Bye just now. See you again.